Wekh Asmanan te Udhday Panchi, o Wekh sahi ki kar de ne, na kar de rizq zakhira, na bhukhe mar de ne. Kadi kise ne Udhday Panchi bhukhe mar de ਵੇਖੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਿਜ਼ਕ ਜ਼ਖੀਰਾ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੀ ਭੁੱਖੇ ਮਰਦੇ ਨੇ
population in subcontinent and in diaspora, they all love Urdu and enjoy Urdu. Uh, and then on top of it, it holds our cultural, our cultural evolution, our tehzeeb and tamaddun, from the times of Rekhta and 17th century, courts of Awadh and Rampur and Delhi maybe, and writers like Walid Dakni and Mir Ghalib and Premchand and Faiz Ahmad Faiz. So if you don't enjoy Urdu, you miss the whole this whole evolution of our cultural, I think, cultural thought evolution. So I feel, I mean, I'm privileged that I can speak Urdu. I've grown up in a family where the Urdu was like Urdu was loved and Urdu was, it kind of nurtured with the traditions of Urdu poetry, um, mushairas and bedbazis and all that. I'm come from that family. So yeah, I mean, Urdu is the one that is my, I mean, I would say my natural creative outlet.
I draw from something that I would call very much an intangible state. And for me, that's a space that links me away from the material world. And David Lynch, the filmmaker and artist, calls this a dream space linked to meditation. Personally, I would go as far as to say it's not meditative because I don't want to really apply a specific word that reins it in. I would feel that it's a human state of creativity and connection with an inner space. It's a space that occupies part of my body, where emotion, where images and thoughts merge. And this is where an idea falls into place from maybe a poem or art, and then words merge through the physical process of writing or through drawing. And the technique and the craft for me comes last. And this space that I occupy, there's also a physical space. I'm British. I was born and bred Londoner. And I'm also diaspora with roots in Balochistan that come on both sides of what is the Goldschmidt line that defined modern day Pakistan and Iran.
But just, in terms of how you found your voice and, has it been something that has been very fulfilling for you? And what were you trying to find? And do you think you found it? Do you think the journey is ongoing? So over to you.
The group we started back in university, and the idea was to bring to fore taboo subjects, things that weren't talked about, things that needed a voice, a platform, but they weren't discussed. So we took, like War Against Rape, we teamed up with them, brought up a play. And similarly, we had like 6-7 different original productions, which we produced over between 98 to 2005. So that was the fun-touche part of it, performing, different ideas. And then later on, slightly later, we had that Orchid platform on which we had a Desi Writers Lounge, which we took into a platform, a forum kind of a structure in which, you could critique work from others and give feedback and develop from there. That was something which did not exist for local writers. So that gap we tried to fill. And then I came across Rawanee, and that was the time of COVID. And that was when I was really looking for platforms where I could submit my work and have it reviewed. So Rawanee offered an excellent platform for that, and there was performative as well. So that was instantaneous feedback. So that was a very positive contribution towards my journey, and learning from that as well. Farah and I started Lakir Mag a little while ago, and that is another platform where we are giving voice to multilingual voice to people primarily from the Pakistani diaspora. So the journey, it's as such has been about asking the question, why not? I mean, there was no theater scene happening at IBA. We said, why not? There was no writers platform for Desis, so we said, why not? Similarly, there was nothing happening on a performative scene, and Rawanee caught my eye with that regard. So this is how it's always been. So that's what my journey has so far been. Why not?
Okay, so to answer that, I have to give a little bit of a background about me. So I don't live in Pakistan. I moved out of Pakistan in 2011. So it's been 15 years that I have been abroad. And I was in New York for 12 years, and I moved to London more recently, about 3 years ago. But I would say that the main reason why I did what I did, and I didn't start this journey right now, I started this in 2020, was when I had a son and I was raising him in New York. So that's when the journey began, because, at that point, I was looking at toys and resources and things that would make Urdu learning fun, because like I said, like, it's not as accessible, because you're raising a child in an English place, in an American city, where the native language is English, and all he sees and hears on television and in school is English. So I was looking for resources, for like fun resources, and I couldn't find anything in Pakistan. And that's what clicked, and I was just like, okay, so if it doesn't exist, then maybe I should start making puzzles and books. And that's how the journey started.
Or developing and making institutions, working on curriculum, all this is a means to a higher end. And that higher end, I'm very clear about, is the thriving of societies, justice, peace, development, the right to development of each individual. So whether we are building industries or developing curriculum, we shouldn't forget that. That is the purpose of humanities. So I remember that drives me. And I bring, whether I'm in a classroom or in any other meeting, I would think of some poems, something that is more inspiring. So if I'm teaching a theory, but I would find something in Ghalib or Iqbal, and I would bring that and would connect it, so that not only my student is aware that this Western concept, Western theory, Western academia is all coming from Western, the knowledge base, but there is wisdom in Eastern literature, in our religion, so much more. So I always connect. So for me, it is always assimilation. And because I am who I am from Pakistan. That's my identity. I belong to this part of the world. My people have their own struggles. My people have like the most resilient people on the in this wide world. So
Start making puzzles and books. And that's how the journey started in 2020. And but I'm somebody, I grew up in Pakistan, right? So I know how to speak in Urdu. I'm a native Urdu speaker, and I can read the language. But what quickly came as a very harsh reality was that the Urdu script is already lost, especially in the Western audience, especially with the diaspora kids. So they can't read it. And even their parents sometimes cannot read it, because they're second generation parents who have been brought up there. And that became like a very harsh reality. And what I learned from parents and myself raising a child abroad is that the main focus should be on conversational Urdu, making it accessible and easy and fun. And that's where I've rebranded and relaunched my business more recently, which is this year. And I'm making animated cartoons for kids on YouTube. So I have short stories that I post, and then I also have Jaldi Batao easy vocabulary quizzes which are basically vocabulary building quizzes. You can see it, it's a minute long, and you can just have to guess the word. And I also have screen-free options on Spotify and Apple.
And this love of both of my homes was inspiration for my debut pamphlet, God Humor, The Breathing of the Earth. And as part of that, to share that love of both of my homes, I created an alphabet called the Mergar script, because the pamphlet is based on an ancient Neolithic culture in a place called Mergar in Pakistan. And the alphabet was inspired by phonetic sounds in Balochi and in English. I'm not a linguist, and it was very much a spontaneous act of that reaching into the inner space and creating forms from it. I was lucky that the pamphlet was selected by Chris Riddell, the illustrator, and it won the Michael Marks Award for illustration. In this case, the starting point for my work that I drew on for inspiration were the Mergar clay figures. But most importantly, as somebody who belongs to diaspora, I feel this internal space within me, almost as I would describe as an empty landmass that I want to give voice to. And the starting point of my poems is often a feeling of absence and a sense of longing. And in this way, there's a connection with my Balochi roots. Balochi poetry often links to this essence of longing. So going back to your initial question, what I ultimately draw from, it's a sensation to an event or an idea that we call an emotion, in the way that I've described becomes tangible art.
So it's called Erased. She is a cautionary tale of the feminine curse. People read her like Braille and spit out the words, and fill in the blanks with her name, alongside countless women who made the same mistake. They quote God and mourn, for a female's rash choice is her own, and a mother should feel the emptiness in her womb because she raised a sin. Her name rests on tongues that only know her cursed infamy. Her name rests on her mother's shelf like a trophy of shame. But I remember the day your bedroom door would not open and your mum came to find us trapped, crying on the floor.
सुकराते 9 सच पर यकीन की कीमत अदा हुई नक़्द जां की सूरत सच पर यकीन की कीमत अदा हुई नक़्द जां की सूरत और कभी तकज़ीब हुई उसकी सज़ा की सूरत इस अहद के सुकरात की आज़माइश ज़हर का वो प्याला है जो हर मसाम में उतरती आगही के बदले रूह को धीरे धीरे बेदम किए जाता है इस अहद के सुकरात की आज़माइश ज़हर का वो प्याला है जो हर मसाम में उतरती आगही के बदले रूह को धीरे धीरे बेदम किए जाता है सच अब एक बाह में एक इल्तिबास के सिवा कुछ भी नहीं
पार चन्ना दे तिस्से कुल्ली यार दी घड़िया घड़िया आवे घड़िया पार चन्ना दे तिस्से कुल्ली यार दी घड़िया घड़िया आवे घड़िया रात हनेरी नदी ठाठा मार दी अड़िए अड़िए हानी अड़िए वेख छल्ला पैंदिया ना छटी दिल वे हाँ लेके खिल वे अज माही वाल नू में जाना मिल वे आए होए दिल वे यार नू मिलेगी अज लाश यार दी यार नू मिलेगी अज लाश यार दी घड़िया घड़िया हाँ वे घड़िया रात हनेरी नदी ठाठा मार दी अड़िए अड़िए